Good day, America. Good day. It's another brand new day, and we're still here. So that means everything is A-OK. Welcome to the Truth to Freedom podcast, real talk for real people, and we're glad that you could join us, America. I'm one of the hosts here, James Parker, and I'm joined here by my other co-host, Mr. Quentin Williams. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How you doing?
All is well, my friend. And we also have the privilege and pleasure of our dear friend, Mr. Jamon Carter. He'll be joining us via his cell phone. Mr. Jamon, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm back.
You're back.
Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you back, sir. Glad to have you back. So we are after the election, exactly 1 week after the elections, give or take. And Mr. Trump is our newly elected president. And it's been crazy ever since. Now people are trying to analyze and figure out what went wrong and why did they lose and how could people vote for Trump? And it is just going back and forth. It's just been nuts. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. Then we got a little something at the end we want to play that's going to, I think, bring a little chuckle to you, just showing you just how crazy some people have gotten wrapped up into this election. So anyway, so we've had the election. Trump actually made history because he's the only person ever come back from such a devastating defeat. Not only did he win the electoral vote, he also won the popular vote. And so it was a clear decision that he won. And what was crazy was, I saw one report was how they were so proud that Kamala, she gave her speech and said that she called Trump and how she conceded and how she's going to help with a smooth transition of power over to them and all this other stuff. Well, she had no platform to fight on. I mean, it wasn't like it was a 10,000 vote difference. I mean, it was a clear cut case of he won. So anyway, I think the Democrats just, what you got to say?
Trump lost by more than she lost by, and he didn't call Biden when he lost. And it was no smooth transition. He refused to talk to him. So he never talked to Biden, but he lost by more than Kamala lost by.
That's true. He sure did. Yep. So I don't know. Anyway, Quentin, what you got to say about the election?
Well, ultimately, I think a lot of people didn't vote. So I knew that was going to be the case because of what happened the previous elections. Hillary and Trump, a good percentage of the population didn't vote. And, they always say that those votes go to Trump because Republicans normally, they vote.
Mm-hmm.
Third party candidate Jill Stein got a lot of votes. She got the third most votes. But even still, if all the third party people Kamala got all their votes, I think she still would have lost.
You think so?
Because that many people sat out. Yeah, I added in some states. I was looking at the map and I added it up in some states, and it didn't make a difference. She would have lost them anyway.
Well, they never did show. Did you see any numbers for Cornel West? Because he was on our ticket.
He was in. They listed him on the other.
I saw some numbers.
What was that, Jamal?
He might have had.
I got a breakdown.
Usually he's listed on the others.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't list him as like a viable candidate. He wasn't a viable candidate. Like he was like a non-factor. So he was listed on the others. When they show up the breakdown,
yeah,
there was probably dozens of people that ran as a Democrat or as an independent. And he was just on the others everywhere I saw.
Mm.
Well, he wasn't on the ballot in all of the states either, though.
Well, there's a reason for that.
What?
You said there was a reason for that. What was the reason?
He's not a viable candidate. He'll never win. He never had a chance. So I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell y'all quick and easy and pretty why the Democrats vote.
Okay.
Democrats lost because it's Biden's fault. Joe Biden should have, after his second year, came out and said, "I'm not running 2024. Y'all, we need to find another candidate." So he tried to run in his condition, and he could not beat Trump. He could not beat Trump. Kamala did way better than Joe Biden for that.
Mm-hmm.
But then he gave Kamala like May when he turned it over to her. So she ran a campaign for 6 months while people have been getting ready for Donald Trump since he lost the election. I have never seen any other candidate in history. Period. I won't live in the George Washington days, but I guarantee you, people were not selling George Washington paraphernalia for the rest of the time, even though he lost and everything. Stores pop up, Donald Trump stores, because it's a cult. Donald Trump is like people that follow him are like a cult, and he can do no wrong. So they were going to vote for him no matter what. He didn't have to run a campaign. His voters were locked in. He has no policy. But they're going to vote for him no matter what because they're in love with him. They worship him. So with Kamala, she had a better chance. But the only way to beat Donald Trump, it had to be another white man to beat Donald Trump. So that's why I say what I say about Cornel West. Because Black America only makes up like 13% of the population. So if 100% of Black America voted for Cornel West, 13% ain't enough to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You really need white men and women. So 50% of white men and women have to vote for the candidate for him to win. And they're not going to vote for Cornel West. They don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all well and good, but then okay, let's just talk about policies because people are hurting. Rent is outrageous. And now food is outrageous. I don't know if anybody been to McDonald's lately, but if you want a Big Mac meal, value meal, it's gonna cost you over $10 for a value meal. So things have gotten to the point where the average American, and this affects both Black and white, the average American is struggling. And so
Look at it. Look at the profit margins for McDonald's. They made more money. The CEO has gotten more money.
right. And we've talked about that. That's what the majority of all the corporations and businesses, all of them.
That's right.
Prices kept going up. Now, when prices started going up, that was during COVID. And so COVID was the excuse. Okay, we came out of COVID. Then it was the supply chain. Then from the supply chain, and then when that finally got rectified, what was the excuse? There was no excuse. We talked about this. They kept those profits up because they wanted to make that money. And so there was no legit reason for any business or corporation to lower their prices back to where they were post COVID. They just weren't going to do it. But they've never done it. Anytime any corporation has to raise prices, they've never, ever went back to the original, whatever their prices was. That was just back in the when we had the so-called back in the 80s, the gas shortage or whatever, and lines was all the way down the highway and all this stuff, everybody waiting for gas. And they said that was supposed to be temporary. And they said that once they fix whatever the problem was back then, and they get fixed, gas prices would go back down and whatever. Gas prices, they never went back down. They never went back to where they were. And so, I mean, it's just all business, as they like to say. But what I want to hear is I don't want to hear about my tax dollars being used for transgender people in jail so they can get their sex change and all that. I don't want to hear about that.
But look, so this is my thing. Kamala had a plan raising the taxes on the 1%, lowering the taxes on Americans that made a certain amount. She was giving out, I think, $30,000 for first-time home buying. Mm-hmm. She had a plan for early childhood health care and like daycare. They had all these plans, but people want to concentrate on the transgender issue, and a lot of people that I know, they say, well, I don't want trans in sports or whatever. Everybody picked that one issue, but what's Trump policy? Trump is planning on putting tariffs on countries that we get products from, which means they're just going to raise the price of the product even higher. They're not going to lower the price for us. So everything's going up under Trump. Trump don't care about transgenders at all. He just cares about the money. So he has none. He has no policy for new homeowners. He wants to raise the taxes on the lower class and then
Breaking up, Javon.
off the trickle down economics that Reagan put in. Oh, okay. Um, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we hear you now.
Oh man, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Well, like, the trickle down economics have always been the Republicans' way of doing it, and that's what Trump is going to do. It's going to actually be worse. But name one. Everybody talk about Kamala don't have policies, but she had a lot of policies, and she talked about her policies. But the thing is, like people like Trump has no policies. I asked people what's the policies of Trump. Like they're talking about ending overtime. They said, oh, they're going to end overtime, the tax on overtime, but they talking about ending overtime. Period. Making that. Then they talking about taking Social Security away. Period.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about ending the Department of Education. Period. So all he's taken away from the poor people.
So
His policies or whatever is nothing behind them. He's just promising people he's taking away all the stuff that gives us a chance.
you got a lot of people who feel like the government's not supposed to take care of us. I'm not making excuses for them, but this is a lot of people, working people believe that. And what turned a lot of people
That's true.
and what turned a lot of people off from Kamala is that, especially when she was touring around with Liz Cheney, she wouldn't be seen with Bernie Sanders, but she started touring with Republicans. And that always hurts Democrats when they pick a centrist position. Obama did it. He put a lot of people like Republican leaning Democrats in his cabinet. They're always going to choose big business over working class people. I mean, he did it when they bailed the banks out. That put a nasty taste in a lot of people's mouth.
Yeah. But a policy that she had or something that she stood on that actually hurt her, the transgender one, that's not a big deal to me. I don't care about it. But her stance on the war in Gaza, about Israel attacking Gaza,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and those people that supported Gaza and wanted a ceasefire did not show up to vote. They didn't vote at all. That was her winning vote. But she refused to address that.
They voted for Cornell because he ran on that.
Yeah, but he didn't get. But it's millions of people. He didn't get a million votes.
No, I know he didn't. I'm just saying, he did.
That was just one of his.
But you can look on. Yeah, you can look on social media and you can see like how many people like did not vote because nobody addressed the thing in Gaza. And this is the thing about Democrats and what you said about being centralist and all that really hits the nail on the head. Democrats are too friendly. We're too kind. We're too accepting. And by having that, we don't stick together because it'd be one little thing that you don't like and you willing to not vote or vote for somebody else. The problem with us is we don't need to play to win. We had to make the play for him not to win. So we selfishly have little issues that don't allow us to come together to beat somebody because we want it our way. We want to be selfish about it. And I told somebody this because Sean King, who was like a big,
Javon, you disappeared.
now all of a sudden, because of Gaza and stuff, he's telling people not to vote stuff. I went on him. I went on Cornell West page. I was talking junk to both of them because they separating Democrats.
Yeah.
Ice Cube and Dr. Boris Watkins did it last time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taking people away because I told them, like, your vote is personal, but it can't be selfish. And Democrats are selfish. When we vote, our issues are so specific. Like, you might have somebody who is trans, and they say, well, I'm not voting until they have a trans person, whatever. And they don't vote, then Trump wins. And then Ice Cube and Boris Watkins was saying the thing about we don't need to vote. Black people don't need to vote until a candidate comes along that has an agenda for black people. They're never going to have an agenda for black people. Like, so you telling people not to vote because they'll never have it. But we need to get together and beat somebody who's like the second coming of Hitler. He's talking about to get rid of the migrants, about mass deportation. Then they talking about deporting naturalized citizens also. So you going back to take people who got citizenship, now you're going to deport them as well? Like, that's like, ethnic cleansing. Now, and in the 80s and 90s, we all heard about these like African countries, and we were going to fight these people because they're doing ethnic cleansing and stuff. But they're doing it right here in America. That's part of his plan, what people voted for. More than that, it's part of the plan that people did not vote against. And that's
Yeah.
the thing about it. He won by less votes than he lost to Biden to. He didn't get the same amount of votes he had to win. I mean, that he lost by.
He lost 3 million votes.
Yeah, he lost 3 million votes, but people did not show up to vote against him. And that's Democrats. That's our own fault.
Well, I mean, we talked about this because that's the whole thing. We keep running on this two-party system, and the two-party system needs to be done away with. If we're going to ever get ahead, because
I lost y'all. Hello?
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right, yeah. All right. I saw Quentin, but he won't move and was quiet. But that's really what happened. We beat ourselves. We had too many choices. And I look at it like go ahead, Quentin.
I don't think they had too many choices. They don't. I mean, they did it to Bernie. Bernie was very popular. I think Bernie could have beat Trump, but they wouldn't pick him.
Yeah, Hillary did that. But see, that's the thing. We never had a primary.
Well, no, we didn't. I mean, when Biden stepped down, they just appointed Kamala, and they talked about that because I think they said that Obama said that he wanted a primary.
Trump than Kamala was. Like, she really did a good job with 6 months. But if we had a primary, if Biden did the right thing, like I said, being selfish, in 2 years, he would have said, I know I can't make it 2 terms. Go ahead and start letting the Democrats pick their candidate. I want to pick Kamala. I didn't like her as a candidate, but I knew that what it was going to take to beat Trump, and I just had to stick with the best of what we had. And
But
that was a business move.
That's just it. You said we had to stick with the best we had, but that wasn't the best that we had. That's the whole problem with the system. They keep saying that's the best that we have. You mean to tell me out of all the millions of people in the United States of America, this is the best that we had? No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. You need to do
But you mentioned it, James.
Huh?
They raised money for Biden, and by law, Biden's money could not go to any other candidate but Kamala because she's a vice president.
Well, that's
so all the money that they had raised for him. She was the only person that could have ran. We didn't have a choice.
No, we could have had a choice. That's what I'm saying. If we're going to make a difference, and if anything is going to happen, it's actually going to change the tide on how we do stuff and how we deal with government, politics, and helping the American people, the whole system has to be changed because this is proving why it needs to be changed. Because you're telling me that there was no choice. The money had to transfer to her, so she the only one that had to run, and this is what we were stuck with. And personally, I ain't got nothing against Kamala, but neither one of them. I didn't want to see Kamala or Trump because neither one of them is going to do anything that's going to benefit us as a people. I'm sorry, they're just not. Even Kamala, because the problem that I have with the Democrats, they come up with these policies. Yeah, the policies are good. 30,000 for first-time homeowners, child credit, all that stuff. But when they implement these policies, then it comes on who qualifies for them. See, it's not a policy that they're going to make that everybody's going to have access to. Every time they come up with these policies, then it becomes who can qualify for the policy. So it doesn't benefit all Americans. It's only going to benefit some Americans. And so we don't really have a seat at the table. And we've had a conversation about this. We never had a seat at the table. And until, and Quentin has said this, and it makes a lot of sense. And the more I think about it, the more he's right. Until we organize our vote, truly organize our vote, and come up with some sound organization, we'll never have a seat at the table. So just joining the Democratic Party does not give us a seat at the table. The reason the transgender can have some say about what they want because they have enough organization in their community that they get a seat at the table. Just like with the NRA, the AARP, and all these other organizations that raise all this money for these campaign and contribute and all that stuff and lobbyists and all that other stuff, they do enough that they have enough numbers to have a seat at the table. Us as Black folks, we're not organized. And so we just follow one party, and our really needs and our wants and our desires and stuff that we really would like to see done, we'll never see done because we're not organized. And so until we get
But
organized, this is what's going to happen. We got to pick. This is you're just going to throw some candidates out there, and this is what we have to pick from.
but you proving my point right now, Jane. Like, because Kamala had 80% of the black vote. So black people were with Kamala in an overwhelming number. So she did represent what black people want. But your views and what you were looking for wasn't represented. And maybe, you know what I'm saying? So it's that might have split the vote. And that's what I'm saying, because I look at it like this. iPhone, there's more iPhones sold than any other phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of iPhone, but a bunch of Galaxy phones, a bunch of Motorola's, a bunch of LGs, a bunch of Kyocera's or whatever, a bunch of Sony's, but they're not iPhones. All the iPhones count as one type of phone. Even though we're all Androids on this side, they separate the sales by manufacturer, model number, this, that, and the other. But iPhone is just one. So all the iPhones look like they more iPhone people, you know. I'm gonna tell you this, and this is just truth to word, and this is how Trump people are. I met girls before, and when I give them my number, they give me their number, and I text them, and my bubble don't turn the right color on their text app, and they see I don't have an iPhone, they say, sorry, I only talk to people with iPhones, and they will not give you the time of day. And this is like, I wish you could see me. I swear this has happened to me multiple times, because the bubble, I guess iPhones, you get a green bubble or a blue bubble. Yeah. I got an iPhone for work. I don't even text on it because I don't even care about it. But if my thing didn't turn the right color, they would be like, do not call me, do not text me. Go and look and see how many of these women act like that over bubbles on the color of the phone to see if you have an iPhone or not. If people is like that and they sticking together over a phone, all of those Republicans are sticking together over something that's indoctrinating them, which it doesn't even benefit them, because most of the policies and stuff that Trump and them come up with don't even apply to 99% of the people that vote for him. But he gives them something that a lot of people don't have. He gives them white hope.
He gives them
attention. Because they making America great again. Them folks don't like seeing. They want mass deportation. They don't want to see gay people and lesbian people. They don't want to see this because they scared that white America is going away and there will be no white America. I don't care about white America. I don't care about black America. I care about living in America and being happy. So if you they really concerned on a deeper level, because if you look at the numbers, how many white women voted for Trump and all the stuff he says about him, he's a convicted felon. He's like a rapist. All this stuff talks bad about women. And then when it's time to vote, they still vote for him because ultimately they're the only people. If a white guy has a baby with a white girl, a black guy and a white girl, they'll say the baby is mixed. Or you can say the baby is black. But the baby will never be white.
No, I mean, it's always been that way. It's always been that way. That's
right.
That's just America.
But in the world we live in, go ahead, Quinn.
I think the other thing that hurt Colin with too, going back to you talking about white society, is that they capitalism for them is natural, and that mindset is natural, and anything else is evil. I mean, that's why they kept calling her socialist and a communist, because they always say that the communists are godless. They have no religion, no morals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that played a lot more in it too.
This is the thing about it. They use anything as the reason to stick together. Oh. We use anything as a reason. Because I've heard people that said they didn't like Kamala because they didn't like the way she laughed at stuff. Now, Trump or lied to you. They said the last time he was in office for 4 years, it was over 30,000 lies. It's some company that counted the lies he told, 30-some thousand lies. But then he said, well, Kamala lied about X, Y, and Z. You say, okay, that's one lie. Mm-hmm. What about blah, blah, blah? No. That's what I'm sticking to. But I heard people that said, I never had to hear that laugh again. I voted because I never want to hear that laugh again. And it was something like that, you know? And you say, well, what did Trump provide for you or whatever? There's no answer, but they didn't want to hear her laugh or whatever. And it's just somebody that was explaining what they liked about Trump. And I'm going to tell you, and it's hard for us to want to grasp or whatever, but he's dirty and he's mean and all that. And they like that. People like, because people say, well,
Yeah.
Trump speaks his mind. He says what he wants to say. It's because they like that. They like that evilness of him. It's what
Because
they
to an unhealed person, it looks like strength.
Say again.
Yep.
To an unhealed person, that looks like strength.
That's right. That's right. But see, not being unhealed is like that masculine thing. I carry my pain with me. I don't need help. You know, it's weak to do this to this. America's not ready for a woman president. Definitely not ready for a black woman president. So, because it's certain things that come with that looks weak to them in their mind. But Trump looks strong. He's a big blonde man, you know,
But
and he said what's on his mind.
I still think that those people are still a minority. Kamala, if as she distanced herself from Joe Biden and actually said something about Gaza, she probably would have beat him, to be honest. That turned a lot of people off.
Her husband is Jewish. I think he might be from Israel. I'm not for sure. I think he's a Israeli Jew. And if that's the case, she actually does side with Israel.
Right.
So she can't say nothing bad about Israel.
But this, and then like the media has been lying. There's a bunch of misinformation. They keep talking about the Jews on October 7th, but this started in like 1948 when the Jews has been taking Palestinian lands. So people are tired of the BS. I get it, but my solution is like, don't not vote. Like, organize. If you thinking you just not gonna vote, then go organize to build a new party or something. But don't just not vote.
Well, there's one more thing. I don't have all the facts on this yet, but I wanted to look into it because, well, I'm gonna tell you this. I can tell you why I'm back. First of all, James, I can tell you how I'm back. I called the ethics department of my company, and they told me as long as I don't mention who I work for, what I do, et cetera, they sent me an email. I was free to do podcasts and talk about whatever I wanted to. So I was getting my stuff together. You asked me today. It's right on time. I'm ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody sent me something a little while ago, and I'm going to touch on this, and I don't have all the facts in front of me. But North Carolina voted mostly Democrats for the whole state. The governor, lieutenant governor, they voted a woman for Secretary of State. They voted black person for this, a black man for this, white lady for that. Well, we voted for a Republican candidate, right?
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina, and we're talking about Stein won by like 100 and some thousand votes. The other one, 200,000 votes, et cetera, et cetera. But you had 300 and some thousand people in North Carolina that voted for president only, and they all voted for Trump. They didn't vote for not a single other person on that ballot. So
I didn't know you could do that.
Well, at first they told us that if you don't vote for everybody, they told us if you don't vote down your ticket, it doesn't count. That was determined to be a lie. But here's the thing about it. He said if you look at all the other states, this is a trend throughout the whole country. I haven't looked into it yet. I found this out like an hour before we were speaking. I've been driving. So I want to do the research on that myself because this is something that Democrats also don't do. Democrats are kind of weak, right? Because we're so loving and caring. When the minute Trump lost, all the Republicans, when we got to work, them guys was in my face saying it was not real. It was a lie. And this is why Trump never conceded, never called, never helped with the transition, because they believed from day one that the Democrats stole the election. Now, Trump aligned himself with one of the most powerful technology providers on earth, and that's Elon Musk. And none of the Democrats were even questioning was the election stolen. But in every state, you have hundreds of thousands of votes for president only, and they all voting for Trump. I just found out today. I think that's interesting because
It is.
Trump lost North Carolina by like 100,000 votes, but you got 300,000 and put him over the other way. That's something we need to look into because those guys, they stormed the Capitol on January 6th, tried to hang the vice president, and Trump was fine with it on January 6th of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And because they thought the vote was stolen from them, but we just went along with it and said, yeah, well, we lost. Kamala lost. But this kind of numbers like this, they didn't have them numbers like that when he lost. They didn't have nothing like that. It was nothing like that. Nobody was voting president only on their ballot. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So they care about their mayor, their sheriff, the board of education, the governor, their soil conservationists. None of the other officers, they voted for president only.
Well,
That right there is something we need to be looking into.
Well, you gotta also think about the mindset of people. It's probably not that far fetched because North Carolina is definitely divided when you talk about rural and suburban. Because within the city limits, in the suburban areas, all you saw was Kamala sign. But as soon as you crossed into the rural area, and nothing but Trump sign. And I mean large billboards, flags. I'm telling you, because every time I go to visit my father, as long as I'm in the city limits, all I see is Kamala. I very rarely saw Trump, but as soon as I cross over the county line, nothing but Trump. And I mean flags, signs. So your rural areas may outweigh the suburban areas. I don't know. I don't know the numbers of rural areas, but those people,
Well,
I can see them people going in and just checking for president and walking back out and never put nobody else's name down.
Especially when they think solve all their problems.
Say what, Quint?
Especially when they think Trump's going to solve all of their problems.
Yeah. What'd you say, Jamal?
But I said, but 300,000. Now y'all can say that, but in them rural areas, you got that sheriff going around saying, "I need your vote," and they didn't vote for their favorite sheriff.
Yeah.
Or they didn't vote for nobody.
I do think that needs to be looked into, but that's where.
Go ahead, Jamal.
No, I said it's plausible. What you're saying is plausible. I can see people going in there voting for president on, but I don't know. North Carolina has always had Democrat governor, which is crazy to me.
Because they say the closer you are to a college, the more liberal the city is. But to add to what you're saying, especially since there's supposed to be this red wave and these conservatives want to take over, you would think they would go in and also vote for a Republican governor, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Because most of the Republicans or conservatives always want to preach small government, right?
Yeah.
And they saying the states should be able to decide their own whatever. Well, how come they didn't come out to support the states? How come they only supporting the country? They're the party of small government.
Yep.
So it goes against everything they even say. So hopefully, if something's going on, it'll get exposed. Because I saw something about Elon Musk today about the kind of stuff he was doing when he started ramping up to help Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's
kind of I don't like that. I mean, he has so much money, he can afford to take them, to do the stuff he was doing.
Yeah.
But like he was tweeting bad information, then you see it's retweeted 75,000 times. And he says, Kamala did this 100,000 times. People retweet. He letting all these other people back on Twitter that, whatever. And they like, what's your man's name? The kickboxer that has like the
Grodin, whatever his name is.
Not
Joe Rogan or
bald head.
The other guy. I know you talk. I can't think of his name right now. I know you talk.
But he teaches this camp. I can't think of his name. But he's got this camp for men to come to learn how to be men. And he got like women locked up in the basement and all this crazy stuff. Daggone his name right on the tip of my tongue. But they let him back on social media. Then he got arrested like a month after or something else. But they let all these people that are highly influential
Jamal.
back on.
Andrew Tate. They
let him back on. And all of them guys didn't like each other. Trump and Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, none of them liked each other. Now they all sticking together because there's a common goal. I mean, Andrew Tate, I don't think he's an American citizen.
I think you're right because his father was American, but his mom was like British or something.
But what about Elon Musk? Is he a South African citizen or American citizen?
South Africa. I think he's South
He was
Africa.
born. He was born.
South Africa, right? So, I mean, you know, but they got influence over that. I didn't really realize until recently, and it's my ignorance. Elon Musk was the co-founder of PayPal.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
They don't tell
Right,
him
he's
what
been around forever.
but they don't tell him what he got his hands into. So that's the other thing about, you know, corporate America. These people got their hands in everything. And so
Yeah.
he's got Elon Musk is going to run the something audit, something which basically is going to get rid of all social programs is what they're going to end up doing. And so apparently that's not a big thing to nobody, because that alone, if they was listening to what they was talking about Elon Musk was going to be doing and how he's supposed to go in and do this audit and evaluate different programs, and basically he's going to get rid of all anything that helps America, he's going to get rid of it. And so if people were not smart enough on the Republican side to realize that that affects them as well, then they get exactly what they deserve.
Yes, sir. And that's what.
Go ahead, Quinn.
Well, I was just gonna say one thing about Elon. That dude is borderline fascist.
Who, Elon Musk?
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things. You get so much money, you don't know what to do with yourself, you know, and then you get a platform, because he's been losing money left and right with Twitter. But another thing to piggyback on what James said, the Department of Education thing. I saw these people that voted for Trump, and then they got explained to them in the Department of Education because they got special needs children, and they found out that when they cut those programs, their kids also are going to lose the program. They're not just cutting them for the poor Black people and for the poor Hispanic people. They cut them for all people.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of buyer's remorse.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that. So I'll tell you what. Y'all know who Joy Reid is for MB, whatever it is.
Yes.
She's an interesting character. I want to play what she put out there after the fact that her take on why she thinks they lost the race. And we'll listen to a little bit and then tell me if y'all agree or not.
This is our first chance to be together one-on-one since the election. So I wanted to begin tonight with an acknowledgement of our new reality. Millions of Americans woke up Tuesday morning full of hope and joy, anticipating the election, finally, of America's first woman president. They put their faith in Vice President Kamala Harris to deliver not just the star-studded joy and the power of the culture from Beyonce to Taylor to basically every star in Hollywood, plus the many memes and incredible digital content, but also the change that could make this multicultural democracy real and accessible and affordable to everyone. I mean, money for elder care and small businesses and child tax credits, what? But that is obviously not what happened. Instead, knowing all that we know about Donald Trump, his vulgarity and venality, his 34 felony counts and adjudicated sexual abuse of E. Jean Carroll, and so many other women he preyed on, his buddy-buddy relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, his theft of classified documents, his fealty to Vladimir Putin, and that attempted coup. Despite all of that, a majority of American voters actively chose him over her. Women all over this country know what it feels like to be the far more qualified woman who loses the job to mediocre or underqualified men. Black women doubly so. And people are rightfully depressed and scared. The Republican Party has made it clear they're not mad at the whole Nazi thing. They actually find some of the ideas, mass deportation, internment camps, white Christian nationalism, to be kind of okay. And autocracy definitely feels imminent. This era is especially frightening if you're a woman or black or gay or bi or trans or in an immigrant or in a mixed status family. And that danger is not in your head. And even in a normal time, when an election goes sideways, it is tempting to feel kind of dumb, for having ever believed that the change you dreamed of was possible at all. I mean, who were we to believe that America would ever elect a woman, let alone a black and Asian woman as its president? I mean, sure, Mexico just did it, but not us. We're America. We don't do these things. But it is not crazy or dumb to believe in the possibilities of America. Millions of people all around the world do too. My parents did. That's why they, like so many immigrants, including Kamala Harris's parents, came here to this crazy platypus of a country cobbled together by people from everywhere and with its tortured history, but also so much potential. It is not crazy to believe. It's not crazy to dream. In fact, it's kind of sad not to. And Kamala Harris lived up to our dreams. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She ran a remarkable 107-day emergency campaign full of joy and hope. She and Tim Walz raised $1 billion in a couple of months, and she whipped Trump in their one and only debate. And yesterday, at her alma mater, Howard University, Kamala Harris, first of her name, did something Donald Trump would never do. She conceded graciously and vowed to conduct a peaceful transfer of power.
You agree with that, Jamal?
About 95% of it. I agree with most of what she said. What about you?
I hear what she's saying. I really believe, and Quentin, you can chime in. I really believe if she had focused on just her policies, then and more or less trying to show that how crazy he was, because they never brought up the fact, and I know y'all remember this, when Trump was in office, when the COVID hit, it was his delay on acting that screwed up everything. It's why it went as long as it did.
Yeah.
That was his fault. That wasn't nobody else. That was his fault. The other thing was there were some social policies that he got rid of, because he was trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, but he couldn't for some reason. I don't know why he couldn't get rid of it, but he was trying to get rid of
Because they wouldn't let him because he didn't have a plan in place. The Republicans wouldn't let him because he had nothing to put in place of it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because I know he was trying hard to get rid of it, and they wouldn't. But there were some other social policies that he got rid of that she never brought up. She should have brought all that stuff up to say that, hey, if you put him back in office, this is what he did back when he was in office. He got rid of this, this, and this. Now, if you let him back in office, he's going to get rid of the rest of them, and you're not going to have anything to fall back on. So what's gonna anyway?
I think she did some of it, but this is the thing about it. Like, and this is my thing. Like going back to the iPhone thing, the people that's going to vote for Trump, you're never going to convert them.
So that's why they don't need to try to. They've been going after Republican voters. That does, like, those people are never going to vote for Democrats. They need to go for the people that sat out. Americans overwhelmingly want progressive policies, and they keep kicking progressives to the side.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. You know, he had less people voted for him. So the people and those people that didn't vote for him, those less people, I guarantee you they voted for Kamala. They switched over. But you had people that voted for Obama that never voted again.
Yeah.
People that voted for Biden, they did not vote again. The third parties, and I'm against the third parties just because I think they only take votes away from the Democrat. They never will take votes away from Donald Trump or a hard Republican, because they stick together. So, and this is my thing, James, you've been around a little bit longer than me, right? Have you ever seen anybody wearing Bill Clinton stuff, or even with Obama? Of course, we had Obama hats and stuff for a little while, but people ain't wearing them after he wasn't in office. We weren't putting Obama flags in the yard and stuff like this when he wasn't even in office. Like, the people follow him so hard, you are not going to make them people turn on him. So she had to just try to get people to vote for her, period. And the thing is, his race is so dirty, it makes you want to run that kind of race. But I don't think she ran it dirty enough. That's my opinion. The thing that I didn't agree with what that lady said, it was partially, like I said earlier, The money that they had raised had to go to Kamala. It ain't got nothing to do with Kamala. You know, she didn't do anything wrong. I don't think. I think Kamala did very, very, very. Except, I mean, that Gaza thing's a big deal, but I think not saying nothing, because if she would have said, "Well, I'm with Israel," same thing would have happened. You know,
Well,
but
she
I
kind
think,
of did though. She said that Israel has a right to defend itself.
yeah, she said that, and that right there is kind of acknowledging that Hamas is doing it. That's like, you know what I'm saying? It's not because Hamas was attacking and they weren't, and then Israel was attacking Palestine, not attacking Hamas. They killing
Right.
millions or hundreds of thousands of civilians, and that's, you know, a problem. Nobody's attacking Israeli civilians and like this, but Israel's been an issue anyway. But my
That's
thing
why
is, but I don't think she did nothing wrong. Like, she couldn't have won. She did the best she could. I mean, she couldn't have done anything any better. I don't think. With 107 days, that's less than 6 months. That's three months and a couple of weeks. You know, like, that's really good. I don't know if anybody else could have came close, but if somebody else if we could have did the primaries, she wouldn't have made it past the primary.
I don't think so either.
I don't know where Tim Walz came from, but when I saw Tim Walz and heard him, Tim Walz got votes for her because he's the kind of guy that those people might consider voting for, who really wants somebody to vote for. In my opinion, I don't think she did. She couldn't improve what she did too much more. It's just Kamala Harris. Not to be like that, but it's just Kamala Harris. Like, you know what I mean? It had to be, if it was like Michelle Obama running, it would have been a whole nother story. That's a black female that could have won. If she had 2 years to do a campaign, she definitely could have won. But 6 months with Kamala Harris, nobody wanted Kamala to win when she ran against Biden. Yeah. She lost in the primaries to Biden. And, you know, I was surprised when he picked her, but he picked her to win. You know, it's little tricks that they did. We know he picked her just so he could win, to get black votes. I get it. It probably worked. But this time, when Biden dropped out, Trump went and got J.D. Vance to get the young vote. J.D. Vance is an idiot. And he didn't like Trump either. Like, his financial backers made him go with him.
That's the crazy thing. They got all kinds of recordings of Vance talking trash about Trump, how he's this, how he's that, and how he should go. Oh man, I mean, he did not like Trump at all. And I was shocked that he chose him. I'm like, how can you choose this man? Basically called you an idiot, but you chose him to be your vice president. Oh, now he's the best thing since sliced bread. I support this man. We support his policies. I'm thinking to myself, these hypocrites, but this is what they want. This is what they get.
And guess what? It worked. And it worked. It worked. But see, that's what we're not willing to do. We're too true. We're too, honest and too stand up of a person. Well, I don't go back on my word. Or when they do go back on their word, because one of the things we learned, they told us about Kamala Harris, is her policies put thousands of men into prison back, when she was a DA or whatever, right? And then you look at it, it was like 15 people went to prison over Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And they can do no wrong. It was fun. I know y'all got some more stuff y'all want to talk about. Appreciate y'all having me on. And maybe next time y'all can pay me back and be on mine when I start mine. All right. But y'all, look, enjoy the rest of the day, man. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to listen to it and see what y'all talked about when I got off. But I'll see y'all later, okay?
All right, Javon. Thanks for joining us, brother.
All right, thank you, man.
All right. Wow. You know what? I was hoping I'd get that in before he got off. This is just keeping with our theme, real talk for real people. The actual issue with everything, and the reason Trump is so popular, is because of the hatred America has. Let's just be real. Because Trump said what he wanted to say, how he wanted to say it, just gave permission for a whole lot of people that felt the same way, that now they can say it and do it and express themselves because, hey, he feels just like I feel. Because up until that point, before Trump ever had any platform to really say what he had to say, people at least respected themselves. We respected one another. Even though I might have hated you because you was a redneck, you hated me because I was a Negro, whatever the case might be. But when we came together in public, we at least respected each other. It wasn't a whole lot of, going back and forth. But since Trump came out and started speaking what he wanted to speak, now people say I ain't got to hold back no more. And the sad thing is, and y'all can leave a comment. Y'all can if you go to the description or email, send an email. But this is just the plain, honest truth. And until America actually face this, we're not going to solve anything. This whole country has been built on hatred. From slavery on, we've been built on hatred because they didn't want to plow and service their own fields for economic reasons. That's when they went over there and grabbed the black folks over in Africa and brought them over here. And it was all based on economics and money to bring them over here and work the fields because they were too lazy to work their own fields and didn't have enough manpower, basically. And so let's bring these folks over here. They live out in the woods. They live out in the jungle. They'll do it. And so you brought us over here, treated us like dogs, treated black folks like dogs and like they was less than. And it's just been an ongoing thing the whole time. Then you had the Civil War break out. And then basically you had to release the slaves, which you didn't do. You still kept them in bondage. You kept them tied down, and it just kept going on and on. And then it just spread it to everybody else. Now you got something against the Asians. You got something against Hispanics. You got every culture, every nation that's over here. Y'all got an issue with for some reason. Now he talking about rounding up and deporting all these people. First of all, I don't even know how he's going to even muster enough manpower to do that. You know the manpower it take to start going around to all these different cities and towns and all this other stuff to start rounding up illegal immigrants that's here, because you're not talking about just the Mexican population. There's other people from other countries that's here illegally too. So if you talking about rounding up, you're talking about rounding up everybody. I hope that's what he's talking about, because if you only going to round up the people that's coming across the Mexican border, you're going to have a problem, brother. I'm just being honest. You're going to have a civil war in your hand. But that's the whole thing too. He's going to, if there's any kind of civil unrest or protest or whatever, I guarantee you he's going to initiate martial law, because he's got the law on his side. As the president, any kind of civil disobedience that he feels that's detrimental to the safety of the American public, he has the right to initial martial law. And so you won't be able to do anything, because he'll just initiate martial law, shut your town down until he does what he has to do. And if you give him any trouble, you will get arrested because you broke curfew. And it's just going to go on and on and on. It's going to get crazy if he goes through what he got to go through. But all this stems through America because we have too much hatred. We need to stop, and we need to look in the mirror, and we need to start changing the way we think about and how we look at folks, and start treating people like human beings. That's what we need to start doing, and start having compassion for one another. And we wouldn't have a lot of this problem, and treat everybody the same. But we don't want to do that. We got people up here that's on the top, on the hill. They want to stay up on the hill, and the people that's down in the valley, they want to keep them down in the valley instead of letting us all share in the wealth of what's going on. I ain't saying I got to make $1 million, but at least give me the opportunity to live comfortable and not have to choose between food and medicine, or a car or whatever. I got to choose because I can't make enough. I got to have 5 or 6 jobs in order just to survive. I can't even find a decent place to live because rent's $2,000 a month, and so I got to pay $2,000 a month. But so we can't eat and we can't put gas in our car. Do y'all see the irony and all that? And this fool wants to come in and start cutting off social programs and stuff like that. So I didn't vote for him. So I don't know what to tell you. I didn't vote for him because I know what he's going to do, and it's going to get crazy. But because y'all hate each other, you hate Asians, you hate this, you hate that, and so Y'all listen to this fool come in there and talk about what he's going to do and all this other stuff, and y'all played into it instead of saying, you know what? I don't want to hate no more. I don't want to hate nobody. I don't want to disrespect nobody. I want everybody to have a level playing field. I want everybody to say had the same opportunities that I have. And let us all do what we need to do. We don't need no DEI. We don't need none of that. We just need the playing field to be the same for everybody so that we all can prosper and grow in whatever area that we in. So what you got to say on that, Quentin?
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
About something you just said. Well, I go back to my original thought. When you said the country was kind of founded on it, I mean, I agree, and that was one thing I thought of when we watched Joy Reid, and she said, you know, you're not crazy for believing that you can achieve these things in America. We need to build that because America wasn't founded on that. I mean, we like to tell ourselves that, but America was founded, you know, wealthy people were the only ones allowed to vote for a long time in the beginning. So we keep calling it a democracy, but in my opinion, America was never founded to be a democracy. The wealthy people have always had the power, and they want to keep the power. We can make it a democracy, but we got to stop voting for politicians that want to toe the line, that try to please them and please working class people.
And you can't do it.
No, I agree with you. I think Kalima could have beat him. But when she said what she said about Israel, it turned a lot of people off, and they were doing, you know, as it was going on, there was conversations, and they said what the American people wanted to hear, or wanted. Bernie did well. Why don't they follow Bernie? He had a lot of support, but they won't adopt any of his policies. I mean, Americans overwhelmingly want progressive policies. They want to be able to eat. They want a decent wage. They don't want houses to be expensive. My thing is doing the debates. You know, Kalima says she's going to give $30,000 for first-time home buyers. Trump didn't really have a plan. Neither one of these people said anything about corporations buying houses. That's what I want stopped. I don't think corporations should be allowed to buy houses and just sit on them. I saw a headline that said Blackstone was the company that owned the most homes in America. They own something like 300,000 homes. That's crazy.
That gives that lets you know that's how the prices get drove up.
And it just goes back. Let's talk about slapping band-aids on stuff. I don't want $30,000 to buy a house. I want corporations to stop buying them.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to keep going. Are you going to increase the price you're giving people to buy a house?
Yeah.
That's an unequal power dynamic. They have more money. They can pay for more lawyers. They can do more things. They can pay for TV ads. They can push whatever propaganda they want to push. It's an unequal power balance. They shouldn't be allowed to buy houses.
That's
another thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Talking about the immigration issue. I was listening to something, and they said that immigration has always been racialized, even when it was other white people, say like the Italians. When the Italians came over, American white people didn't want anything to do with Italians when they got here in the beginning. They trashed them. They called them lazy. So, you know, immigration has always been racialized.
And unfortunately, America has done that, and what it does, so Italians come over for a better life. White America demonized them, and what they ended up doing was they would center themselves in one area. So you got, like, New York is good for all these different pockets of people. You got Little China, Little Italy. All these people are now in their own little pocket to maintain what they remember of their homeland, and this is what they live in.
Yeah.
But you demonize them, they turn around and start demonizing everybody else. And so you had Italians demonizing the blacks. The blacks was on this side of town, Italians was on this side of town, they was mullahs and all this other, you know what I'm saying? It just, and just even with black folks have been so depressed and held down we hate everybody. And so, you know, everybody is a redneck to us or whatever, because we've gotten it from everybody. We've gotten it from the Asians, we've gotten it from the Italians, we've gotten it from the Irish. We got it from everybody. So the hatred that America started, it just spread it like a cancer, and then everybody's doing the same thing, and we got to stop that. You know, I don't care what color you are, I don't care what creed you are, what country you're from. We all brothers and sisters. You can believe it if you're not. I don't really care, but that's what we are. We always created under one umbrella. We're all brothers and sisters. We was created. We have different cultures, different this, but it all comes together. We're all brothers and sisters. And until we accept that and start acting like that, we're never going to get anywhere. This country will just keep floundering over itself year after election until we start changing our mindset on how we look at one another and stop thinking that one culture is better than another culture, better than another culture. We're all the same. Ain't nobody better than nobody else. We are all the same. We do things different. We learn things different, but we're all the same. I'm no better than you, and you are no better than me. This is just how it is. I love you, and I hope one day you'll learn to love me. But if not, it's okay, because I know where I'm going. Do you know where you're going? That's all I got to say about that. But anyway.
Yep.
Hey, I had one more. Well, for the sake of time, if you didn't have nothing else you want to, I'm going to go ahead and play that. So, apparently, a lot of people upset with the election. And, of course, with social media where we have it now, people love to get on social media and express their feelings. Yeah, they love to express their feelings. So, a guy I've been following, he let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to talk and find at the same time. Yeah, here you go. He put together a bunch of these postings of people and their reaction to the election. Devin Givens is the guy. It's the Devin Givens show. He's pretty cool. I like him. Check his show out. But he put a collage of these people expressing themselves. So it's quite interesting. Let's take a look.
I'm feral today. Feral!
TV. Do it. Fuck that asshole! Do it! I'll buy.
I'm delivering 3 sermons today, each one to a different group of people. And this one is for the Trump supporters. You are going to hell for this.
Y'all are racist because y'all are misogynists.
Kamala's not perfect. We all know that. We all know that. She is not a convicted felon, rapist, crazy, fascist, dictator, psycho.
I think all women should stop having sex for the next 4 years.
It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
This is not okay. This is not okay. This simply will not do. And this is not okay. And I'm not good with this. This is sick.
They gonna tell me you need to be careful out there. The KKK and the Proud Boys is running around.
Oh, keep on smiling, baby. And the whole world smiles with you.
You voted for a racist, a rapist, a dictator. You voted for a bully, a bigot, and a narcissist. You voted for someone who said he would have no problem using the military to kill his opponents.
I dare you to tell me to calm down right now.
So, what's the plan? Do we all just, kill ourselves collectively as a group? Just drink some Kool-Aid, just mass? What's next for us? What's next?
In this democracy, the majority has spoken, and they said they don't care that much about democracy.
We don't have to freak out. We don't have to freak out because it's not even real. Because recount the vote.
America was not ready for a female black president. And that is what I was worried about. Because the country is full of racist, misogynists, men and women.
But I hope at the end of this, when we're destroyed, that you are happy.
All right, y'all. It's only been 2 days since God fired Kamala Harris and re-elected Trump in landslide fashion. And the amount of out-of-touch meltdowns and collapse of common sense has been incredible since then. Folks acting like they're going to leave the country, wives wanting divorces from their husbands, delusional women talking about cutting men off from getting some loving, just pure insanity over an election. Hey, y'all, do what you got to do. Nobody's out here forcing people to be stupid and sleep around other than yourselves. And I'm praying these lost souls wake up out of the wokeness at some point, but in the meantime, I'd be perfectly okay with a mass exodus of all you anti-American Trump haters. Then once he does turn this ship around like he did back in 2016, people seem to forget he's already had experience in this position and did it effectively, but once he does turn it around again, that's all the more for us to enjoy. He's not only going to make America great again, but hopefully mental institutions are part of that as well after seeing these clips I'm about to play. And since Big 47 is going to be deporting tons of illegals, while that's going down, let's give CNN, MSDNC, and ABC the boot as well. Amen? Let me know if you agree in the comments section.
So, America seems to be a little upset.
Yeah. A lot of people are upset. You know what, James?
What's up?
I know that there are some racist, misogynistic people, but I still think those people are like Trump supporters. They're not. They're a majority. It's a small majority of people who vote for him.
Yeah.
I don't think she lost because she's a black woman.
No, I don't believe either. But
I just don't believe that.
But you know what's crazy is that we don't know anything because the system is flawed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The system is not a foolproof, uncorruptible system. It can be manipulated, just like the stock market, just like anything else, just like how America is paying high price. Everything is manipulated by man. And so to really say that, did he win? We honestly don't know. We don't know what they did. We don't know what happened. But she conceded, so she didn't contest it. So I don't know. But
sorry. I just did a tally of Kamala and Trump's votes.
Mm-hmm.
So about almost 150 million people between the two of them. Trump got 75 million and Kamala got 72. That's 147 million votes.
Wow.
The U.S. population is 335 million people. That means 188 million people did not vote. You know, there's some in there that aren't eligible to vote, but, you know, still.
And then some of them probably voted for the other guy.
Well, that's how tired people are of the mess, though.
I know.
Because Jill Stein and Cornell and RFK, they didn't get, 100 million votes. I think the most I saw Jill Stein got was 24,000. 24,000 in one state. And the rest, it was less than that. So if she got 100,000 votes, it wasn't too much over that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it just goes to show how tired people are. They didn't even bother to go out, they didn't even bother to go vote.
Yeah. Because some people looking at it like, why waste the time? Nothing's going to change. And that's just it. Nothing is going to change. They go through these periods of, get out the vote, do this, because we got to make a change. Your vote counts, whatever. And then when it's all said and done, we're right back in the same boat. And so you're right. We're at a point now, I think people they don't even want to deal with it no more. I'm about to lose my apartment. I'm about to lose my home. I just can't deal with it no more. I got to figure out how I'm going to take care of this. So y'all do what you want to do, because that's nothing going to change.
We don't tell the truth, and we got to start telling the truth. I go back to Obama. He ran on open change, and then he gets in office and he bails out the banks during the 2008 housing crisis, where a bunch of people lost their jobs in their houses. I mean, you don't like the Democrats, they don't think that they don't remember that.
Yeah. I don't know, brother. Well, for us, it'll give us something to talk about. So we'll see what happened. Oh, and that podcast you had sent, they was the guy at the end that did the little bonus thing for the party that I forgot. I need to write it down. The party that he has, True Grassroots.
Yeah.
Grass.
His name was last name Solomon.
Yeah. He's launching a movement. So he says we need to be in the politician's face for the next 3 months, because you're going to mess around, and when he takes over, he's going to have a whole lot of stuff he's going to start cramming down everybody's throat. So he's saying these next 3 months we need to be letting these people know that this is not what these policies we're not going to accept. And he said for the next 3 months, they're going to be working. They're going to be, I guess, gathering names or whatever they need to do and start talking to these representatives to let them know that, you know, whatever he got coming up on board, it needs to be put to a halt right there. And he's right. These next 3 months, after he said what he said, I said, you know what? He's right. If you get in, again, like you were saying, get organized, get enough people to go up there and bug these people to death, they'll stop them because they don't want to lose their position. So if you got enough people that's telling you that you need to, you know, go the other way or whatever the case might be, they'll do it. They'll stop them because they don't want to lose their position. But again, you got to have enough people organized as a group to make a difference. We can't be a little fascist over here, a little fascist over there. You got to be organized for the same cause, just like everybody else, and you can put a stop to a lot of that stuff. So I'm gonna be checking out his website. He left his website and everything. I guess I'll post all that in our description so they can check him out.
Was that Norman Solomon? Was that him, the guest speaker?
Yeah, I think that was his thing. But he said that you can join his this thing when you join and register, and he sends out a newsletter and things of that nature about what they're doing. So it'd be kind of interesting to keep up with him and follow what he comes up with. What he comes up with, and you know how he's doing as far as, you know, what he's exactly addressing and trying to put a stop to. But here we are, America. I guess we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do from here. But again,
was that the corporate crime report he was doing at the end of the show?
No, not the corporate crime report. It's whatever his organization was, the grass something.
I think I know he talked.
Not the
grass action something.
Yeah, not that not the criminal which that was pretty good too. But no, it's the grassroots something.
Grassroots Action Network.
Yep, that's it. Grassroots Action Network. And you can go in there and register, and they'll keep you up to date to what they're doing and where they're meeting and all this other stuff. So it might be something to look into, because and they also had brought up something too about unions, that they were supposed to do something with the unions, and they backed out because they said that they couldn't control the narrative about what was going to go on, so they didn't do it. And so you had some unions that didn't back her for some reason.
Yeah,
we did, but some didn't. But they were saying that might have been some of the reason that they didn't feel supported, because they were left out. I don't know. But again, you know, we have to organize. If we organize, we'll get a seat at the table. But we have to organize. It has to be a collective organization. If not, we're just spitting in the wind.
Yep.
So, anything else you want to add, sir, before we call it a day?
Nope, I got nothing.
All right, my brothers. Well, we're out of here, America. We hope that you enjoyed the show. We hope you got something out of it. Please, 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 please leave a description or check the description. Our website is there, and you can send us an email. Please do. I check it every day just to make sure somebody sent an email so we can talk about it. Ain't nobody sent me nothing yet. So I bet after this one, though, they'll send me something. But anyway, look in the description. You can join us on our YouTube page or send us an email. You can leave a comment on our YouTube page. But anyway, America, this is Real Talk for Real People. And if you want to make a difference, you're going to have to get involved. You're going to pay attention to what's going on and stop following the rhetoric. So anyway, it's Brother Parker, along with my brother, Mr. Quentin Williams. We appreciate you joining us. And until the next time, as always, God bless. Later, Quentin.
Later.
Also, one more thing before we go. At the time of this recording, it was Veterans Day, and we want to recognize and salute all our brothers and sisters in America that served in the armed forces to protect this country and to protect our freedoms and our rights from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Thank you for those that had served. It was a sacrifice, and it was the best sacrifice that you can ever give, to give one's life for their brother. So we appreciate you. We love you, and we wish you the best. May God bless you and your families always. Again, happy Veterans Day to all our veterans. We'll see you on the next episode.